Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about season 6, episode 7, titled Ego Tripping at the Gates of Hell. Weird title. Air date November 6th, 2002, and 2002, and the synopsis is
Audrey gets drunk before a performance at Hell's Kitchen and ends up making a scene. Meanwhile, Jack attends Professor Freeman's book signing. Jack had also made plans to go out with David that night, who waited all night to wait for Jack to show up at the bar. And then Joey feels bad for not being there for Audrey and has an argument with Eddie. Also, Pacey and his firm partners go to New Orleans to celebrate a business deal. So Joey is getting ready to leave to go to campus from Hell's Kitchen. And Eddie knows that she's going to Hudson's class, the one that he got kicked out of recently.
do you like to say that? He got kicked out.
Well, I
I
mean, he
mean,
left on his own too,
he eh,
kind of.
if he got exposed, but he was getting exposed either way.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because remember, he's like, "Oh, you want everybody to know? Know what? You kind of already said it,
Hmm.
just not in those words."
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad. I don't think they showed that teacher. I'm glad they didn't. I
Right.
don't like that guy. Ugh.
Hmm.
I like Eddie. I just don't like that guy.
Right. And then, yeah, Eddie's
Oh,
still being
well,
secretive.
I thought it was funny when Eddie said they don't let my kind go that far east because they were talking about like her going to Cape Side and stuff.
Right, for the holidays.
And then she said, I'm okay. And then she said, I'm the girl from the wrong side of the tracks. What?
Yeah, I know that didn't sound right.
What? You live in Cape Side. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
I was so confused
Right.
when she said that. I was like, huh? You live right
Hmm.
across the creek.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of references of shows on here that was before our time, like Cheers, because Eddie calls him and Joey a regular Sam and Diane.
I wondered where that came from. I didn't watch Cheers.
Right. It was on just late at night. So all I know is the theme song at best.
Oh, how does that go?
I don't know.
I
It's been a while now.
thought you were going to sing it to me.
No.
Darn.
Mm-hmm. And then after the theme song in class, Jen wants to know how things are going with Jack and David. And Jack says they're meeting later in the cafeteria after class. And then Jen's still, trying to go out with CJ, trying to get attention.
Jen said something about someone's got to be getting some.
Right, between them.
Oh, oh, oh. And no. Well, what do you think of that comment?
I don't know. Didn't really seem too out of pocket,
Nope. I was
at
like,
least for Jen.
gross. It kind of is. Who was the last person she slept with?
Dawson?
Okay, before him.
Um,
You gotta think of that
the
one.
popular guy, Chris, I think.
Yeah, that was season 2.
Mm,
She's not the person they kind of made her out to be.
right.
Like that she hooks up with every guy. No, she
Mm,
doesn't.
yeah. And then the professor announces that he's retiring after this semester.
Yay.
Another retiring professor.
Yeah, isn't it just so funny that they retire and then they're gonna be off the show?
Yeah, you're right.
They're just all retiring.
Mhm.
I have a question though.
Yeah,
Aren't professors supposed to be old?
right, to retire.
Like,
Hmm.
why are they all young?
Well, apparently they're gonna go off to be a writer, so I don't know.
Well, what was the one in season 5? What was he going off to do?
Writing.
And then this one's going to write?
Hmm.
They couldn't come up with something better.
I guess not.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
apparently,
okay. Now that's just lame.
yeah, they
That
added he's going.
you couldn't even have a better exit.
Hmm. Yeah, apparently he's going to Chicago to write, and then invites the class to go to his book signing tonight as like a final goodbye.
See, now I could see them just saying like, oh, he's got money from his books or whatever. Now he can retire or something. But the fact that they don't really say that,
Hmm.
like it would be different from the first professor. But to just say the same thing is it's not very smart,
Right.
in my opinion.
And then in the dorm room, Audrey is going through her clothes and Joey walks in.
What did you how did you like when she said, I dumped Pacey 4 months too late?
Yeah, I was trying to think when 4 months was.
I'm thinking that it's kind of when they got together. I don't know. Well, was it had to have been before they went to summer or during summer. I don't know. Because it's
Hmm.
already what month?
Um, November, apparently, or around there.
Okay, and 4 months to that is the summer.
Hmm. Yeah, so
So,
maybe right before, or, yeah,
but they were in the middle of their summer vacation then.
I don't know.
I
Maybe she
don't
meant
think
before.
I don't think they knew what to write. They
Hmm.
should have said like 6 months before. It was like when they
Yeah,
first got together, and then she really meant she shouldn't be with, you know, it's like, I don't know, the 4 months just sounded so weird because it didn't add up to me.
right.
But isn't it weird that Joey doesn't know what's going on?
Yeah, it does. Especially
Like,
since they're roommates.
right, you think she hangs out with Eddie all day and all night?
Right.
Like, come on.
Hmm.
Because she's not hooking up with him or anything. So it's like, what are you doing at night
Hmm.
when Audrey's in the dorm?
Right.
It's just weird. Because then wouldn't you be like, as a friend and stuff, you'd be like, oh, well, why aren't you out with Pacey?
Hmm.
It This doesn't add up again.
Yeah, so Joey has no clue that they broke up on Halloween, even though Joey was at a different party.
She was at a different one.
I'm well, not the party. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think. It was uh Eddie
Oh
in the
yeah,
haunted house.
she was with that kid. I mean that
Yeah,
teenager
Harley. Hmm.
and Eddie, you know.
Yeah. But you think that they would have talked the next day at least or something.
Well, I just find it weird because it's been a whole month or something
Mm.
and she doesn't even know.
Yeah, at least a week, yeah. If the timing was right. Um, yeah, so Joey's shocked by this and as if she hasn't been living with Audrey this whole time.
She's been living under a rock. That's where she's been
Mm-hmm.
living.
Yeah.
You know, but again, Joey's a lot like Dawson. Remember how Dawson couldn't understand anything that was happening around him? Because, you
Mhm.
know, he he was always in Dawson land. Well, Joey's in Joey land. Like, she doesn't really care what's going on with other people as long as it has nothing to do with her.
Mm-hmm. And then in the cafeteria at Boston Bay, there's another reference to another show. Jen tells Jack that his apartment looks like the one from My Two Dads because of the staircase. I heard of that show before, but that was still before our time, even before Cheers, I think.
Who was in it?
Um, I'm not sure. I just looked it up really quick. Late 80s, and it had oh no, actors I know. Stacy Keenan, Paul Reisner, Greg Evigan. I'm probably saying these wrong. Florence Stanley, Giovanni Ripsey. I don't know. Michael Jacobs, Rumi Hathaway. Yeah, I don't know any of these people. Um, yeah, it was only like 87 through 90
Hmm.
when I was on NBC.
Well, what did you think when Jen, I think it was, when she said, gays have it so easy?
Oh, right. As if she wasn't there to see everything going down with Jack and Toby.
I was just like, what? What is she
Mm-hmm.
talking about?
Right.
And actually, don't they have it harder?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Especially back then, coming
Mm-hmm.
out was hard. So it's like,
Yeah.
what is she talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like if you said that comment now, it's still not right, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better than saying it back then in 2002. I mean, again,
Right.
how many people were coming out in 2002?
Mm-hmm.
Not very many.
Yeah.
So it's just weird that she would say that because that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. And then apparently they're all going to see Audrey perform at Hell's Kitchen. So, Jen wants everybody to go, her, Jack, David, and CJ, like as a little double date.
Of course she does.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And then,
she wants one couple to be getting it. That's
yeah.
what that's what she said.
Mm-hmm. And then she's trying to get more information out of David about CJ. And, he's like, he doesn't really date and everything. And then he eventually shows up. And then he agrees to go with them. But, of course, he's not thinking of this as a date like Jen is. And then, of course, Professor Freeman shows up in the cafeteria to see Jack because he's always trying to see Jack whenever possible.
All of a sudden,
Mm-hmm. And he encourages him to go to that book signing so he can see him tonight. And Jack just says he'll think about it. And then, too, Freeman said that he hopes that he didn't ruin, Jack's college experience and that, because he did tell him that he was finally motivated to work hard in school. But he already kind of ruined that when he told Jack that he had set his expectations too high in that last paper. So,
yeah, and gave him a C.
yeah, well, it was a D, I think. But yeah, so
Yeah, it's kind of like if you give me a bad grade, am I gonna like you?
it was a
Heck
C
to the
minus. Yeah.
no.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a question.
Hmm.
If you liked a teacher or whatever and they gave you a bad grade, would you like them anymore?
Probably
Like,
not.
and you knew that you deserved a higher grade?
Yeah, no.
Me
No.
either. So
Mm.
why would Jack go like go to this book signing of the dweeb? I just don't get it. Like, yes, I'm calling them names because it irritates me. Like, did Jack just totally forget what happened that other episode?
I guess, yeah.
What, because it was 2 episodes ago or something? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're done and over with this storyline. No, it doesn't add up that unless he's desperate, but he's got David.
Mm-hmm.
And David likes him.
Yep.
And David is his age. Oh my God. Oh, but that's the problem. Is Dawson's Creek does not do same age.
Mm-hmm. Really not.
So yes, um Jack wouldn't fall for David because he's the same age. This is
Mm-hmm.
so wrong.
Yeah.
No wonder why I didn't like the show.
And then at Pacey's workplace, everyone passed their exams to celebrate they're going to New Orleans for 24 hours.
Now that obnoxious guy,
Rich.
the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what he said?
About what?
Like when he was like getting everybody to go out and stuff, and he's like, "We're obnoxiously wealthy."
Mm.
Who is?
I don't know.
Pacey? Like, who's the we? Because I don't think those newbies are exactly wealthy.
Right.
Like, do you really think that any of them um made any deal by themselves? Like somebody probably had to draw it up and like somebody higher up. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense that you really think that they made good deals or any deal by themselves.
Right.
Like, would you go to a newbie
No.
who's still training? I'd want the highest person up there. I wouldn't want the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but you aren't going to give me a good deal.
Right.
So it's kind of like, that's why it doesn't make sense. And then when he said that they're wealthy, I'm like, but who? You in the high ups, like all the bosses? Then I guess so. But And also, why are they taking the little newbies out?
I don't know. I guess we're paying for it. I don't know.
I know, but they're newbies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't you go out with all the people who, made the money,
Right.
made
Yeah, I
them
know.
wealthy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you wouldn't take out the people that were just hired in, would you?
Well, it's to celebrate that. So I guess for this time, at least.
Yeah, well, I honestly wouldn't want to go.
And then later in New Orleans, the guys are in a casino where Pacey's talking to a woman. Then he mentions his girlfriend and everything. So he's not purposely trying to like meet a new woman. He was just talking to her. But the second he
Mhm.
mentioned a girlfriend, she walked away. And of course, Rich had to say something.
Oh my God. He was so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really wanted Pacey to punch him in this episode. But I know the show doesn't do that either.
Oh,
They're just
yes.
not like any other show, are they?
Mm-hmm.
Because, any other show, Pacey would have punched him.
Right. And then at Hell's Kitchen, Eddie is making drinks, talking to Joey.
Oh, and then how'd you like Joey when she said, "What are you doing later tonight?"
Right.
Hi, Joey, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like he works at a bar. I'm sure works what? Past midnight.
Right.
And Joey still wants to hang out with him then?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Joey.
And then Eddie mentioned another Cheers character again, Diane Chambers. And they were talking about a book that she's reading for class. So I'm surprised they mentioned it a second time. But while they're talking, Audrey interrupts them by asking for another shot. And she's already pretty drunk as it is
Now, I will say, Joey irritated me
with Eddie
because,
and Audrey.
well, no, with Audrey,
Mm-hmm.
because like you can tell Audrey is wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey, as the smart one, and not being so smart, she can't, like, all she's doing is like telling Eddie, no, just give her another one. She's fine. And I'm like, no, she's
Right.
not. And then
Mm-hmm.
when Audrey was arguing with him, and he was like, and he even brings up she's underage.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind too, I was like, but Addie, why'd you give her anything? I mean, she
Yeah.
is underage.
Mm-hmm.
But then like I was happy that he put a stop to it
Me
because she
too.
was getting out of hand. But then
Mm-hmm.
Joey's just like, just give her, she's fine, she's fine. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were getting wasted, I would want you to stop.
Right.
I mean, and is Joey planning on babysitting her all night? You know what I
I
mean?
know.
It's
Yeah.
like you're too preoccupied with Eddie
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna actually watch her all night if
Right.
she has any more. Like
Mm-hmm.
it just bothered me. I'm like, Joey as the responsible one is not being responsible.
Right.
Like I feel like that's something Jen would say. Just give
Mm-hmm.
her another one. She's fine. But the fact that Joey's saying it, I was like, no. Like you're not a good friend then. You should be like, no more.
Yeah.
And like it's one thing to get wasted at home,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not at home.
Yeah.
You're in a bar.
Mm-hmm. And she's supposed to
So,
perform.
yeah, well, she's supposed to perform. And then what if she
Mm-hmm.
gets in a fight with somebody?
Yeah.
Like, I know it didn't happen, but it could have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bar fights do happen.
Yeah.
So it just made me mad that Joey wasn't sticking up for Eddie and being responsible and saying, no, Audrey, you've had enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what'd you think of it? Did she bother you?
Yeah, she really did because later on Audrey was talking to Eddie about, how basically how he's not gonna do much with his life. Because she mentioned something about like taking the bus all the time and having a, low paying job.
She did in this
And
episode?
yeah, later on when she was drunk, um trying to find it in my notes. Yeah, because Audrey asks Eddie what it's like looking down the barrel of a gun and seeing a janitor's uniform and a bus pass. And Joey just doesn't say anything about that. Audrey just asks Joey to get her another beer now. And then that's when Joey says no, now she, puts an end to it. And then, that's when Audrey smashes the beer bottle on the bar table. Eddie, is fed up and tells Joey to get her out of there. But Audrey's only focused on the fact that she smashed the bottle with magnificent force, or so she thinks. And then that's when Emma comes up after all this time to see if we know what Audrey's doing because they're warming up on the stage. And Emma's supposed to be like the manager of this bar, isn't she? But she's not saying anything
Mm-hmm.
about Audrey's
Nope.
drinking like this. She's
Mm-hmm. Nope.
just concerned about the show that they have to do.
I know. And the fact that she's not like, how'd you get this alcohol?
Yeah.
Why isn't Eddie stopping it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Yeah. So it's just like all put on Eddie to control her.
And I feel like he's trying, but nobody's letting him.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I feel bad for him in this episode.
Yeah.
Well, he's the only adult, it seems like right now,
Mm-hmm.
at least in the bar. At least in the
Yeah.
bar. I'm going with that.
And then at the book signing, Jack arrives.
Ugh.
Yeah, but his excuse is that he didn't want the free food to go to waste.
I just don't like this storyline.
Yeah.
I'm over this.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, they don't have anything in common. They're pretty boring.
Mm-hmm. And Jack just finds out that his wife isn't moving with him to Chicago, Freeman's.
Well, I literally wrote, of course she's not going with you.
Right?
I mean, did he tell her why?
I don't know. It's a good question. We don't know. Doesn't say much after that.
Yeah, and Jack is still like, oh, really? Hmm,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he stays a little
hmm.
bit longer and
Yeah,
the
of course he
professor
does, because
introduces him
he
to
found out
people.
teacher's single.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but see, my thing is the teacher's not single because he didn't get a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, men leave their wives every day, but guess what? A lot of times they go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Jack, do you really think that, like, if he hasn't come out yet to her, do you really think he can't get back with her?
Right.
Come on now, open up your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Then at Hell's Kitchen, Jen, David, and CJ are there, and Jen, has no idea where Jack is. She says that to David. And then Jen tells CJ she's glad that he showed up since she figured that this isn't really his thing. And then CJ asks Jen about Audrey and how she's doing. And because he says that Audrey seems a little depressed, and Jen says she doesn't look like it, even though she's drinking as much as possible.
So, how does CJ know she's depressed?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, I mean,
Like,
look,
he,
yeah,
he know that, wait, he did know that they broke up, didn't he? Because didn't he help Jen take her home?
and in this episode,
No, a previous one.
um,
Remember? Because Jen said she was going to stay with her,
oh,
and then
mm-hmm,
she yelled at her, kicked her out, and then she met up with CJ. So maybe
right,
in that
yeah,
episode he realized she was depressed.
yeah,
And
maybe,
I think that's when she broke, as she claims, she broke up with Pacey. I think that was the episode.
right, but we don't know if he knows that
What?
about uh Audrey breaking up with Pacey.
I'm sure he does. You don't
Hmm.
think that when that happened, she told him?
I don't know.
Like, she's very vocal. I'm sure she did.
Well, they didn't really seem to talk very much. Are talking about Jen.
Yeah. Jen and Audrey seem
Hmm.
closer than
Yeah.
Joey and Audrey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
And CJ did take her home, so I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
She probably said she doesn't have a boyfriend anymore or something.
Maybe, yeah. And then Jack finally calls David to let him know that he's sorry, but he's on his way. I mean, he's not on his way at the moment. And, David jokes how he should call the police or not. Jack says that he'll just be there. He got sucked into an academic nightmare.
What was your opinion on this?
Well, I didn't think they would be so cool about Jack being late like that.
I mean,
He
our little
was.
Jackster is a little liar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's bugging me.
Mm-hmm.
So many people in this episode were bugging me,
Yeah.
and Jack was high up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's bothering me because I don't like all the lying. Like, did he learn nothing from the previous year when he lied?
Right.
Remember the whole Toby thing, like making Toby wait and everything? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it just bothers me. Like, he's not
Yeah.
telling the truth. Does he really
Mm-hmm.
think he's there for academics, or is he there for someone else?
Right. And then back at the casino, Pacey and his boss walk up towards a woman. And of course, the boss strikes out with her at first. And then
Um,
Pacey stops
uh,
him.
the boss.
Mm-hmm. Rich.
I can't with him. He told her, "You have breasts that are begging to be touched."
I know. Surprised she
What?
didn't slap him.
So many times Pacey should have punched him.
Mm-hmm.
This was number two.
Yeah, and her name is Denise, and she came back with that's a coincidence since he had the testicles to be begging to be castrated. And then that finally makes Rich leave. But I say she still should have slapped him.
Mhm. It bothered me.
Yeah. And then Pacey and her talk a little bit. But I was surprised that she was willing to talk to Pacey, knowing that they were kind of friends. They could have easily said something bad too.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
instead she
but
said,
well, yeah,
yeah,
then she's like basically, like he's the nice guy.
mm-hmm,
I mean, Pacey is. So
yeah,
you gotta give him that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because he said that she's probably used to men saying inappropriate things to her. And she says, yeah, but not used to them leaving their more attractive and likable friends like him. So,
Ah, I was waiting for Pacey to be like, we're not friends.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then back at Hell's Kitchen, Joey goes back to see Eddie at the bar and she asks if he missed her. And he says, how could he when he's been waiting on her and her friends all night? Because he's just so fed up with this.
As I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's when Audrey comes back. Oh, I'm sorry, I already talked about this. Yeah, so then Audrey goes to perform. And then she's like messing everybody up. She's messing with the dials on the amp, and she almost pushed one of the guitarists off the stage because she's not watching what she's doing or who she's bumping into.
So, given that she was bumping into everything and
Mm-hmm.
everybody, then she goes on the tabletop of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's my point. Here's my thing. I try so hard not to dog the show,
Mm-hmm.
but when it doesn't make sense, I have to. If she is that drunk, how is she able to walk on the bar
Bar.
top,
Mm-hmm.
which is thin, or which is, and
Narrow. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and she doesn't fall off.
Right.
Like she almost fell off on the stage, which
Mm-hmm.
was wide.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me that she's not gonna fall off?
Right.
I mean, I yeah, she was kicking stuff and everything when she was walking, but she didn't trip.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is some really bad storytelling.
Right.
Because if she's that drunk where she was bumping and everything, she
Mm-hmm.
would have 1000% fell.
Yeah.
So I literally, when I was watching and then she, was done and everything, and I was like, and yet she's still standing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Like she's not that drunk then.
Right. And then before she got into the bar too, I thought she was gonna crowd surf for a second when she got into the audience.
I mean, she should have because she should have acted like she was gonna fall because that. I'm sorry, a normal person would have.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're that drunk, you would.
Yeah. And then she almost did hurt Jen, David, and CJ when she threw that bottle at the wall that they were sitting there.
Did you see CJ's like, ducking?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And then again, everybody's concerned about Audrey by the end of the song, but Emma's just
I
annoyed
know.
that she like messed up the performance.
I feel like this just took too much time
Mm-hmm.
because it was her performing and it was like the same words over and over, and then it was everybody's reaction about 50 times, and I'm like, I get it. I've seen their reactions. They
Mm-hmm.
all like I can picture it. Like I don't need to keep seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scene could have been a lot shorter.
Yeah. She was just singing one way or another, so that does get repetitive after a while. But I guess they just really wanted Audrey to have her little coyote ugly moment on the bar.
See, so what should have happened was she should have went up there, started dancing, and tripped and fell. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, for storytelling wise, that would mean she's drunk.
Yeah. But instead
But what
we
did you like when she took her like part of her top off?
well, I thought she was gonna take off more after that, so luckily she didn't. But yeah, it would have been more realistic if she had done worse than she actually did.
Mhm. Do you think they didn't do it because it was a WB show?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because I don't know back then in the 90s or early 2000s, early
Mm.
2000s, how far they went.
Right.
Like, obviously, it can get a little bit, raunchy on other shows on the CW.
Mm-hmm.
But the WB back then, they
Mm-hmm.
must have been a little bit more,
PG or
yeah.
mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like, because the show doesn't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
And it must, and it may have come from the network too.
Yeah.
She needs to keep her clothes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just see later on Audrey is in the bathroom with Joey and throwing up. And
Oh,
then
but
that's
I
when they get
am
into it.
But I am happy that she didn't take her top off because she would have really hated herself the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I now Joey's gonna be a friend for about a split second.
Right, yeah.
I was
Yeah,
actually
so
surprised. I was actually surprised Jen wasn't in there.
yeah, I know, I was wondering,
But
but I think she's just
she's
too
too into CJ right now.
yep, exactly. Yeah, so Joey's trying to, find out what's wrong with Audrey, and Audrey doesn't want to
What are
talk
you
about
doing
it.
to your mic?
Oh, I'm just holding it because I was gonna grab my charger over here because my computer is running low on the battery. So,
That's why I plugged mine in before we got on here.
yeah, well, the battery was fine, but it dies pretty quickly now. But yeah, so, yeah, they get into it and how Audrey's trying to cover up something and Joey wants to know what, but Audrey won't let her know what it is. And then,
Uh, how did you like though when Audrey told Joey, and then you were um imitating me,
oh yeah, when she was
talking
performing.
about, well, yeah, because she's like, I've never seen you have fun. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that performance you had, but you were imitating me. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, with
First of
Charlie's
all,
band. Yeah.
Joey did the singing first, Audrey,
Mm-hmm.
on this show.
Yeah, that we saw, yeah.
I mean, she did it back in season one, and she
Mm-hmm.
did the whole, singing at a bar in season five.
Yep.
Audrey didn't do it until season
Mm-hmm.
six. So
Right.
who's imitating who?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
because
think it's
Audrey,
Audrey doing it to Joey.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because Audrey had said that she sang once with Charlie's band too, but that was before we knew Charlie in season 5, so that was the only thing she could have been referencing. But yeah.
Oh, too. Audrey might want to be Joey though, dating her ex-boyfriend, singing on stage. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, what else are you gonna have similarities in trying to take her life?
Right. Well, it hasn't been school because Audrey hasn't been going to classes.
Yeah, maybe she will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Audrey was saying like to Joey, she got mad at her and she was like, you can't even like you don't have anything to say. My
Right.
question to you is, what does Audrey want Joey to say?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you and Pacey broke up. You weren't together that long.
Mm-hmm.
That's her ex, who used to be the love of her life. What do you want her to say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Yeah, because she said she was sorry
And
for not knowing. Mm-hmm.
and she's technically friends with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't make any sense.
Right.
By the way, we got less than a minute.
Yep. Yes, Audrey asked Joey if she knew she was depressed before she, was all about, her boyfriend, Eddie, and Joey's only response to that is that Eddie is not her boyfriend. So Audrey points that out and just walks out. Because again, Joey's not really concerned with what's going on with Audrey.
Mhm.
So Jack is still at that book signing with the professor. And the professor just keeps saying how he didn't mean to keep him with his jabber. And um, they just get into it about how Jack was right about a lot of things about him, not just in class. And Jack's sad how he's the most popular professor and inspirational, yet he still felt the need to hide who he really was. And however long it took him to get there, at least he did it. And the professor says, a week ago, he was an unavailable married man who
He's still
presented,
unavailable.
yeah,
He's
who
not divorced
presented,
yet.
true, presented many versions of himself to the world. And now that's all that left is this one. And then he wishes that he noticed it sooner or that he noticed Jack. And then he tells Jack to tell him if it's too late or not. And Jack says he can't because he kept waiting, someone waiting all night for him. So the timing isn't right. So
Um,
even after this time, the professor still wants to be with him
my thing
somehow.
with Jacksters
Hmm.
is um is the fact that I mean, literally my question is, does Jack think that every guy is going to wait around for him?
Right.
I
I don't
don't
know.
get it.
Hmm.
Like now that Jack is comfortable with himself, he's just gonna, try it with this one. And if it doesn't work, I'll just go back to you. It's like,
Hmm.
no.
Right.
Like, does he want to be treated like that?
I don't know.
So don't treat other people like, um, I just, I hate Jack in this episode.
Hmm.
Again,
Yeah.
David seems like a nice guy.
Hmm.
I don't like, okay, I didn't like Toby, remember? Like,
Right.
he was an ass.
Hmm.
But I like David. It
Yeah.
just irritates me that it's like you finally found somebody nice that we can root for,
Hmm.
and you go and hang out with the professor who
Right.
is kind of still confused and doesn't know what he wants or whatever. Like, no, go be with somebody you can actually be with.
Yep.
I can't with Jack.
I know.
Because again, it's like, all right, well, now that I know about you as in the professor, well, now I can like basically dump you and go back to David.
Right. Like
Why
he's a
would you
backup
think?
choice. Hmm.
Yeah. And it's like, why would you think? I mean, you should have done that as soon as you got there. I
Yep.
came, stayed for 5 minutes, and I'm leaving. Like, there's
Hmm.
somebody waiting for me. You're right.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. He waited all night. And now
Hmm.
he's going to say that all because the professor basically is hitting on him.
Yeah.
And it just makes me mad because Jack should be a better
No
guy.
better. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then after the show, later on, Jen and CJ are picking up class. So, Audrey broke on the floor and they're talking about her and how
Um,
she doesn't seem well.
what was the reason why CJ doesn't date?
Well, yeah, because he finally opens up to Jen a little bit about how he used to be the same way, drinking a lot. And, um, he was already pretty bad by the time he got into high school with it. And it took up It took him blacking out and realizing he was the guy at the party who told everybody exactly what they didn't want to hear. And you know,
But what
um,
does that have to do with dating?
well, I know that, with people who are addicts, you're not supposed to date within the first year of trying to be sober. So it should be past that point, maybe with David. We don't really know how old he is. Is he a
Do you mean
freshman?
CJ?
I mean, yeah, CJ, is he a sophomore, junior, senior? I don't know. So, it would make sense if he just started being sober and wants to focus on that, but um, I don't know.
I mean,
He
he
is
was
busy
he
with
was
the
kind of he was kind of making it like forever.
right, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe until after college, I don't know. But the telling everybody exactly what they didn't want to hear at the party sounded a lot like Dawson and his birthday party
I
because he was also drunk.
know, but him
Mm-hmm.
and Andy, oh my God,
Yeah.
they'll never be able to live that down in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, everybody else it was funny, but except for what he was saying to Pacey, that
Right.
was bad. But everybody else it was funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jen says that he doesn't have to be so hard on himself, and they all mess up. And CJ says she doesn't really want to know much about him. So no, it sounds like he still has like a lot more secrets that he's keeping from her.
Yeah, I want to know all of the secrets now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's got to be more to it
Yeah.
that he's pushing her away.
Mm-hmm. And then later on, back in New Orleans, Pacey's trying to find his key for his room so he and Denise can go inside. And she helps him look until she grabs his crotch and says that she's not so good at waiting. And then she finally does find the keys in his pocket, and they go in. So that was just a quick little scene. And then we go back to the house kitchen where Joey walks out of the bathroom and apologizes to Eddie about Audrey's behavior. You know, and he says it wasn't her problem because she wasn't working. So why should it matter that her friends were going to trash the place?
Now, I have a question.
Hmm.
Who's paying for all the damage?
Yeah, that's a good question to know.
Someone's gotta buy all those glasses.
It should be Audrey or her parents, probably, if anything. But
It ain't gonna be Audrey. She has no money.
hmm
Well, I was thinking, the bar should be happy it happened to a rich girl because daddy can buy her or buy the bar all new glasses.
hmm
Um, so yeah, but I was just like, I don't know, it just bothered me. And like Eddie could get fired because of it. I mean,
hmm
there's not much thinking. But I
Yeah,
also think that what's her face could get fired because isn't she the manager?
yeah, Emma. hmm Yeah, and we still haven't seen her since the performance, so we don't know what she thinks about it.
And well, we kind of saw her face. Uh, but what about Joey? I mean, is she really picking up?
No,
Because
not really.
we saw CJ, Jen, I think
Hmm.
David was probably helping, and obviously Eddie.
hmm
I didn't see Joey pick anything up. Well, it bothered me. She was the one that was like, give her more, and yet you're not even going to pick anything up.
Yeah.
Huh. Once again, there's little Joey, selfish.
hmm Yeah, so
Oh,
her and Eddie.
but what did you like when Eddie said something about like it's bad enough you're her friend? Ooh,
Hmm
so good.
Yeah.
I liked it because it was like she at some point needs a hard lesson.
hmm Yes, again, it's an argument, and how Eddie brought up earlier what Audrey said to him and how Joey didn't defend him, even though they're kind of dating, which just because Audrey's her friend doesn't mean, you can just let him talk to him like that, even if
No,
she's drunk.
aren't you supposed to stick up for your boyfriend or the one you like?
Hmm
I mean, think about if Audrey did that to Jen and CJ.
Right.
Like Jen likes CJ.
hmm
She would probably tell Audrey to knock it off.
Yeah. And Joey tries to downplay it and says like they deal with drunk people all the time, and this is different because they know Audrey, and it
Yeah,
was just
that's when he
more
says,
personal.
"Yeah, you're her friend."
Hmm
Like it's worse. I'm like,
Yeah.
now I do agree that, um, like you learn. um like sometimes like who their friends are
Mm-hmm.
because you can see like
Yeah.
who Joey's hanging around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Eddie says that maybe they should just stop bothering, trying to dance a little dance. That's just nothing more than flirting. And that there just like isn't anything good between them. And I get why Eddie uh said this because he's right about Joey. She was just kind of letting Audrey do whatever she wanted, even though she was out of control and didn't stick up for him. And Audrey was going after him. So
Mm-hmm.
Joey just really didn't
I wouldn't
help
talk
either one
to
of them.
Joey either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she
Um,
wasn't she wasn't a good friend or a good girlfriend.
no, and then it's like if you and then she kind of like gets mad at him the fact that he said that, but it's like you have been not nice to him
Mm-hmm.
this whole night. And like, yeah, one minute you want to talk to him, but then it's like, oh, then all of a sudden you're sticking up for Audrey. And it's like, but Audrey needs somebody to say something to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, then how'd you like the one she told Eddie? I mean, she like yelled at me too in the bathroom or whatever. And it's like, oh,
Right.
now you want to feel bad for Eddie?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all because she yelled at you. Now you're getting the hint that it's Audrey who's the problem. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't in front of other people either. She's in the
Right.
bathroom alone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she could have played it as if it never happened, but for him, it happened in front of people. Like, ew. I just don't
Yeah.
like Joey in this episode either.
Mm-hmm.
She's high on the list with Jack.
Yeah. And then back in New Orleans, Denise and Pacey are making out when, Denise asks if
Now, what did you think when she said, we can just skip foreplay? And
right.
then she asked him if this is his first time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Yeah.
huh? He's like, am I
Yeah.
that bad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then she lets it.
But what did you think when she said we can just skip to the foreplay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suspected this before this scene. Um,
Oh,
when
you
she,
thought she was like a hooker?
yeah, because of well, if it wasn't for the keys before that, it was the how she was willing to flirt with Pacey after Rich kind of insulted her. And then, like I said, with the keys and everything, she was very, very handsy. So I wasn't completely surprised when she let it slip out. Well, I mean, I was surprised she let it slipped out, but I wasn't surprised she said it. How his friend, didn't pay for the whole night, so that's why she was trying to hurry it up. And then that's when he realizes, this was all set up by Rich. So it wasn't just
Ah,
because
and
she liked Pacey.
then he
Yeah.
stops.
Mm-hmm.
I just love him.
Yeah. So he just,
Well, he
he
did the
wanted
right
something.
thing.
Yeah, because he wanted a real connection, not, a girl to be bought for him.
But my thing is, he was apologizing to her.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
For not letting her do her job. I don't know, but yeah, it's
Yeah, but she was still getting paid whether they did
hmm
anything or not.
yeah,
It just bothered me because I was like, you shouldn't be apologizing. You're blindsided. She didn't tell you until now, and he
hmm
definitely didn't tell you. So it's like you're the one that should be getting like people should be apologizing to you.
yeah,
Like she's the one that should have said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I thought you knew."
hmm
But she didn't. He was saying I'm sorry to
right,
her, and I was like, I questioned
hmm
that.
yeah,
But I love when he said, I gotta go talk to somebody.
hmm
And I loved it.
yeah. And then Jen and CJ walk out of Hell's Kitchen, and David's still
Oh,
there
by the
waiting
way,
for Jack.
would you let her just stay in your apartment?
Denise,
Yeah.
the room. Um, no, I mean it was Pacey's motel room or something.
Oh.
So I don't know. I don't think it was really a big deal because it didn't seem like he was even in there beforehand. So it's not like he had stuff in there that he was leaving with her or anything. His only concern now is just going to talk to Rich. But yeah. But right before that, Jen tries to make a move on CJ, and again he turns her down, because he can hang out, but he doesn't date. And like, because he says he doesn't mean he can't have friends, you know. But still, Jen just keeps trying, even though he keeps giving her enough signs that he's not interested.
I know. She just needs to walk away.
Mm-hmm. And then he does get her a cab, which was nice.
He should have got Audrey a cab.
Mm-hmm. And speaking
Oh,
of
but
Audrey,
then he sees her.
yep,
Were you
in the crib.
surprised that he walked over to her and sat down?
Kind of, but kind of not since he's working at that volunteer place, the help place. So I figured he was going to talk to her to help her out. And then he does kind of, he was actually able to have her open up to him, unlike Joey, which was nice because she needed someone to talk to. And then, you know, and then he can relate to her too, so that helps it all too. And reading my notes, yeah, but she tells him that he can just go, and he says that if he wanted to go, he would have. So he just stays there, and he does even end up giving her his gloves to wear since it's cold out, and then just kind of leaves it there. And then we go back to New Orleans with Pacey and Rich. He finds Rich on the street with the other guys, and gets into it about the girl, and just to take him off his charity list because he doesn't need him to buy him women like that.
Okay, this could have been punch number three.
Mm-hmm.
Three
Yeah.
opportunities that Pacey could have punched him,
Mm-hmm.
and he did it. For me, that's a writing fail.
Yeah, because I thought he was once he kind of grabbed him, but the other
But
guys broke
no,
it up.
they let it go, let it go. Don't
Mm-hmm.
touch each other.
Yeah, because Rich doesn't even see what he did wrong.
Screw
But yet,
that. Punch
Pacey still
him.
didn't. Yeah. And then, Rich yells to Pacey that when is he going to realize about that fighting the good fight isn't worth it? What do you think what do you meant by that?
I don't like him.
Yeah, neither do I.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think he just wants Pace to be like him, but that's not going to happen.
Pacey's 1,000% better.
Mm-hmm. And then David, kind of like how Joey was leaving that one night when Dawson didn't show up until the last second until he did step out of the cab. So just like this, Jack steps out of the cab right when Dave was about to leave the bar. And, Jack apologizes for showing up late, and Jack is glad that David did stay and explains that he kept missing his opportunity to leave, his other situation, his other commitment that he made.
And see, it didn't remind me of Dawson. It just made me mad
Mm-hmm.
because Jack's like, "Oh, you waited for me," and he's like, "Well, not really. Like I was having fun in there."
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, it just bothered me because again, David's all being nice, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
someone needs to say something to Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, because David thought that, Jack couldn't start a new relationship until he had, figured out that his old one was, over with. But Jack wasn't even in a relationship with the professor, but he made David think that because, he was giving the professor so much attention.
Well, and it bothers me because it's like someone needs to put Jack in his place. Like
Mm-hmm.
David should have been upset.
Right.
Like next episode, they could have worked things out. But it's like for now, David needs to be mad at Jack
Mm-hmm.
and for standing him up, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, he made Jack hang out with like his friends and stuff. Like, yeah, CJ's there, but CJ was hanging out with Jen. Like, and he's
Mm-hmm.
letting out the third wheel to them.
Right.
Like, nobody wants that. So it just bothered me because everyone just lets Jack do as he pleases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the next morning we see Pacey walking around the empty streets in New Orleans. And then the last scene we see Joey wake up and Audrey's in her bed, so she was somewhere else for the night.
Yeah, where do you think she is?
I don't know. With Jen, maybe. There's no other
I
place she
I
could really
highly
go.
I highly doubt that.
Hmm. And then someone knocks on the door and it's Eddie as he brought back Audrey's wallet that she left at the bar. So he's still nice, doing the right thing. Because
What
he
did
could
he
have had
say?
it.
Your little friend or something left this.
Yeah. Because like he could have had Emma, just hold on to it and Joey could have got it when she went to work again next time, but he brought it to her instead.
Well, of course, because apparently they're gonna go on a date.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what Joey wants.
Yeah. So all was forgiven, I guess, since
Again.
last night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just brush it off.
Yeah. So Joey says she wants to go on a date without the preteen girl or drunken roommates.
Does it bother you that they don't get mad on the show?
Yeah, they haven't really, besides for Audrey, no one's really gotten mad at anybody else.
Because
Well,
like
Pacey, but yeah.
because like other shows, it's like for a couple episodes, like I won't talk to you. And like that's
Mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
This is not real where you just are all forgiven.
Yeah.
No. By the end of the episode, oh, we're all cheerful again. No, you're
Mm-hmm.
not.
Yeah, I was surprised that Eddie had said that he wanted to go out with Joey to prove himself wrong. Wrong about thinking Joey represents everything that he hates, which sounds bad. Then he adds he thinks she might represent everything he's missing, which is better, but the first part of that was kind of bad, at least to me, when he
No,
said
because
that.
he kind of thinks she's, you know, because remember when he first met her, he kind of like talked about, oh, some of her being rich, and she's like, I'm not rich. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like he just has that view. Well, he even
Assumption.
said the
Mm-hmm.
Worthington
Yeah.
view.
The light. Yep.
So
Lean.
it's like, yeah, he just thinks bad of that and people who go there. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's Joey. So
Yeah.
even though she's none of those things, I mean, she is selfish and lives in her own bubble. But, it's like besides that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, she's not all that bad.
Yeah. Yep. So that was the last scene.
Oh, how did you like when when they shook on it for the date?
I mean, at least it was official, you know,
They're gonna go on their
here.
first date.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least someone's going on a date. CJ and Jen are they just keep going back and forth. Like he doesn't want to date you. You've
Yep.
said it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
move on.
Yep. And Jack and David. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is this the first episode we didn't see Dawson at all?
Uh,
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The
I
second episode now?
I was
Right.
gonna
Second
ask you.
episode.
I was gonna ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the show called?
Yeah. So this is at least the second episode without Dawson in it or even mentioned. So,
I don't get how you can name a show after a character and ditch them.
mm-hmm.
Like it's one thing if he left.
Right.
Like the actor was like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to leave, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't. He's still on the show. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're not going to give him anything to do. He's
Yeah.
the lead of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, I miss Dawson. With all this crap going on, I miss Dawson
Yeah.
because I liked his little movie life.
Mm-hmm.
I was tired of this. It was just back and forth. And it was Audrey getting drunk and spending 5 minutes watching her and everyone's reaction. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then Jack, and his silver darling. But I just bothered me. And so I was just like the whole episode, I was like, where's Dawson? Where's Dawson? And then we get to the end and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, no, Dawson.
Yep. I guess
I
I
was
not
like,
even mentioned.
yeah. No, nowhere to be found. Not, oh, I just called talk to Dawson. This is
Yep.
so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have found something for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so what's your high and low?
Um, the low was just Audrey's performance or so-called performance at the bar. And then the high was probably the only good thing really was like Audrey finally opening up to CJ and um Joey and Eddie finally figuring out what they want to do and actually go out on a date, a real date. So not much really good happened in yours.
So for me, the high, I liked when Eddie uh told Audrey she was cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, someone needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know why he was giving her alcohol.
Right. Exactly. It was
Uh,
kind of both of their faults, really.
yeah. But when he realized she was really wasted, it was like, okay. But well, Andy was sticking up for himself when little Miss Joey Potter was saying nothing. He was holding it together there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like that. Um,
Yeah, because he could have said something mean to Audrey back, but he didn't. So,
yep. He was just like, no, you don't need it. Like, I know he could have said a whole, like, he could have been mean,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
I think he was like stern how he said it, but in a you need to know this way, not in a condescending way.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that about him. Um, and then the low Jack with the professor. I am over this. I hope,
Yeah.
is this the professor's last episode? Please tell me it is.
It seems like it. Yeah.
Oh,
Hopefully.
going back to Dawson, what was the first episode he was in?
I think that was the um the mugging episode with Joey, I
Oh, yeah,
think.
nobody was in that one but Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, ooh, I would rate this 6. It was bad.
Yeah. I'd say 7, but yeah.
I mean, nothing was really happening. I
Mm-hmm.
I would have given it more points if Pacey would have punched him.
Rich, yep. He
I
should
like to
have.
say his name.
Hmm.
Like, come on now. You could have gotten a 10 just for the punch,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't. Like, as
Yeah.
in the show, you don't
Mm-hmm.
get a 10 because Pacey didn't punch him. The girl didn't punch him. So you know what? Y'all don't get a 10 for that. You get a 6 because it was
Mm-hmm.
boring. I hate to be mean, but it's just not good. Um, and then I'll go first. We probably don't have the same best and worst. But for me, the best was Pacey. I liked that when he found out that she was paid, that he stopped.
Mm-hmm.
He did the right thing because most people probably wouldn't. Um, you know. Um, so, Pacey just always wants to have that connection with somebody, and it's so adorable. Then the worst, about every single person on this show. Let's see here. Let's narrow it down, shall we? For me, the winner of the worst was Jackster.
Okay.
You cannot keep standing every single person up
Mm-hmm.
and think that they're going to just wait around for you forever.
Right.
Not how it works, Jackster. Get it
Mm-hmm.
together.
Yeah.
Next episode, Jack better have it together. What's yours?
Well, for my best was CJ because he was actually paying attention to what was going on with Audrey, compared to Joey.
Jen and Jen in La La Land.
Yeah, Joey, her roommate, and Jen, her other friend. And then the worst is Audrey. Like, I know she's having a bad time, but she really didn't have to go that far with the drinking and then the whole chaos scene of dancing on the bar and breaking things and throwing the glass at her friends that she could have hurt. That she was putting, Eddie's job on the line, Joey's job, too. Well, everybody's job, really. And
Emma,
then,
yeah.
yeah, and herself, even though she probably thought that her dad would be able to pay whatever was needed to be paid so it would go away. But still, she should have thought a little bit more about others, not just
I
herself.
have a question though. Has she
Yeah.
really ever thought of others?
Well, she's been there for Joey. She's needed her like with Dawson and everything.
Eh, eh. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean she's at least the freshman year they were, she was pretty there for Joey who didn't really want to even open up to her for a while. So yeah.
Okay, next episode, bring Dawson back.
Hmm. He should be. I don't know why he wouldn't
Kick,
be. But,
okay, bring Dawson back and kick
hmm.
Professor to the curb.
Yeah, he should be gone hopefully now.
And I get we got to keep the stupid boss around because he's Pacey's
Hmm.
boss.
Yeah, hope that we can get a professionally like a woman so nobody would, get involved with her. Well, Dawson's not
Dawson
really
might.
in school. The only ones that are in school are Jen, Jack, and Joey and Audrey. Well, not really Audrey. I'd say only the three of them. Joey, Jen, and Jack.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah.
only see him in college.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah,
right,
so
so what's the next episode?
Yep, episode 8, Spiderwebs, which kind of sounds like another Halloween episode, or I don't know, Spider-Man, I don't know, something. Or actual spiders, I don't know.
It's literally called spider webs.
Yeah,
Oh God.
unless I've been getting these titles wrong still. 'Cause I get them off at Disney Plus. Notice I've got some of them wrong. Yep, Spiderwebs. That's what it's called. One word.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess that one will be interesting. Hopefully it's better than this one. You guys, I don't like to be mean. I really don't. I want to be happy for a change on this show.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would really appreciate it.